All right, what's up, y'all? I think y'all a little too close, bro. I love y'all. Feel me? You a little too close. Put you right here, G. Okay. So today we going over a very important topic, man. Actually, y'all come a little closer. My bad. You know what I'm saying? We going over a very important topic today, man. It's the topic of lust. You understand what I'm saying? And I got a reaction video pulled up for y'all. Right now. So, well, I got a video pulled up for y'all right now that we're going to react to. And I think it's just going to help us dive deeper into the topic. I'll stop periodically to give my thoughts, but we watching this together, bro. And I just feel like it's very important for us to have this type of understanding. So, you know what, let's do it. Shout out to Psychatic. But yeah, let's hop into the video, man. Appreciate y'all for watching.
It happens when you're alone, late at night, phone in your hand, mind restless, heart numb. You tell yourself it's lust, that you just need a release, that it's normal. Everyone does it. Just one more scroll, one more fantasy, one more body to imagine. But if you were honest with yourself, really honest, you'd feel it too. The emptiness, not just after, but during, even while you're chasing it. You think it's desire, but it's not. It's hunger for something deeper than skin. It's grief for something you can't even name. Carl Jung understood this long before modern psychology dared to speak about it. He said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And lust, this constant grasping, craving, consuming, is not about pleasure. It's about escape from boredom, from pain, from loneliness, from the aching silence inside your own heart. You tell yourself you want her, but what you really want is to feel alive, to feel held, to feel seen.
Tell me he lying, bro. He's not lying, bro. It all comes from a root place. And what we have to understand is, like, we do it to ourselves, fam, because we don't want to dive deeper into the why. We just want to exist with it. We feel like this is the only option, but this is not the only option. You feel what I'm saying? This is a place and where your mind goes when you feel as if you on your own is not enough. You don't feel comfortable in your own skin. You're not happy with your own life. So you want some sort of excitement. So you turn to things such as corn to try to fulfill that, but you can't really fulfill it because you're not talking to the root. You're not going to the root. And what I like about this video so far is that, he just went right into the root cause. And of course, the root cause is going to be different for everyone, but man, it's true. It's true. We do it to ourselves. And sometimes we got to stop and look at the bigger picture, fam. So let's hop back into it, fam.
To feel something, anything, beneath the surface of this empty, performative life. But instead of turning inward, you chase the body, you chase the image, you chase the surge of dopamine that disappears just as fast as it came. And the moment it's over, you're left with the same void, the same silence, the same self, untouched. You see, lust isn't the enemy, it's the symptom. It's your soul trying to get your attention. Because beneath that craving is something much deeper. Disconnection. You're not connected to your body. You're not connected to your purpose. You're not connected to your emotions. You're not...
You're not connected to your purpose. That word purpose is going to find its way to crawl into every topic of life. That is why the channel is called Purpose Driven. Because if you don't have purpose, if you don't have connection with yourself, if you don't have a deeper why for why you're living, for what you're doing, or for who you are, you tend to try to connect and find purpose in the outward world. Because you don't know your inner purpose, and your inner purpose is simple. Connect to the higher version of yourself. Connect to your spirit. If you are flesh, right? You are flesh, right? Now, if you're watching this, bro, I believe we have spirits and souls, bro. So if you don't believe that, I ain't saying to click off, but this part may not be for you. You feel what I'm saying? Bro, we have spirits, bro. And our human body has to connect with that spirit, because our spirit is the breath of life that God put in us. That is the deeper versions of ourselves. That is the higher version of ourselves. That is the better version of ourselves. So when we act out of flesh and we don't deny the flesh for the spirit, but instead we keep feeding the flesh and we keep neglecting the spirit, what tends to happen is you become animalistic. You're only living through your human body. And so you are trying to find connections and experiences and purpose outside of yourself, but you have to connect with yourself first. That's the foundation. When you miss the foundation, when you miss the whole plot, when you miss the whole game, when you miss the whole point, what do you think happens? What do you think happens? You fall out of alignment with yourself. You fall out of alignment with your higher self. You fall out of alignment with God. I said God, my bad, bro. I just meant God. I don't know why I said it like that. That's crazy. But you fall, God, you fall out of alignment with God. You feel what I'm saying, bro? So, bro, you have to get back in alignment. And that takes honesty. That takes you being honest and saying, I've been feeding the flesh too much. It's time for me to feed the spirit. How do we feed the spirit? Sometimes in order to feed the spirit and connect back with the spirit, we have to go through periods of fasting, right? I'm not telling you what to do. You know, I'm not a health nutritionist. Consult with your doctor. You know what I'm saying? Don't attack me. But fasting helps. And it says it in scripture. You're supposed to fast from the flesh. Now, I don't know how often you want to do that, but you can do it periodically, and that's going to help you fight lust. Now, if you want to dive deeper into those techniques, I got the chosen ones below where I got videos talking about techniques that can help you overcome lust. No joke. So you can check that out. But for this video and what we're talking about is just very important for us to know that a lot of this suffering is caused on our own, bro, because we're not connecting with the deeper version of ourselves. So let's go back to the video, fam. Let's see what he's saying, but I'm loving it so far.
Connected to you. So you reach for the easiest substitute, the illusion of closeness, the illusion of control, the illusion of being wanted. But Jung would say, this is the shadow in action, the part of you that was never loved in the right way, now searches for love in the wrong ways. And it's not just about sex. It's about all the ways you run. The compulsive texting, the porn at 2 a.m., the meaningless conversations that feel almost intimate, the constant mental replay of someone who made you feel desired once. But what you're really doing is avoiding the loneliness that lives under your skin. Because to sit with it, to really feel it, is to admit that you don't just want release. You want rescue from your own isolation, from your own numbness, from your own buried needs that you were never allowed to have. Jung saw this in the patients who came to him not with sexual issues, but with spiritual hunger disguised as desire. He didn't moralize. He didn't judge. He went deeper. Because he knew the real question wasn't, why do I feel lust? But rather, what is this lust trying to distract me from? And that is the question you have to ask yourself now. Because if you don't, you will keep feeding the craving, but never.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. He cooking, bro. He cooking. He purpose driven. This is the truth, right? It is trying to distract you from something. It is trying to distract you from being your best self. It is trying to distract you from locking in. But most importantly, lust is trying to distract you from interacting with your spirit, with your soul on a deeper level. And the reason why that's important is once you interact with your spirit on a deeper level, you start to recognize what life really is. Life is not just doing the same things over and over again. Life is not just about routine. Life is not just about, hating your life and then you're not at peace. Bro. Life is a journey. Life is about evolving. Life is about connecting with your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Life is about that. And when you don't have that, you're going to feel some sort of lack. You're going to feel some sort of wounds that are there. And so I do believe that you can change this. I do believe that it's possible, but you have to have that faith and that belief in yourself. That's important. A lot of people got faith in God, but don't forget to have faith and belief in yourself, bro. Faith without works is dead. You got to have faith as well in you. that you can break free from this, that this does not have power over you, but be the observer of it. Observe your lust and understand, like, okay, what is it trying to teach me? What is it trying to show me? What is it trying to expose? What is it trying to distract me from? What does it not want me to find out? You have to look at lust as an entity on its own. It's not like, it ain't nothing to demonize, but at the end of the day, in your true form, bro, you are not lust, bro. It's just something that you experience. You have to ask yourself, what is this experience trying to show me? And when you do that, you start to disassociate from it, and it starts to have less power over you. You feel what I'm saying?
Never touch the wound. You will keep chasing bodies, but never feel intimacy. You will keep fantasizing, but never feel seen. You will keep finishing, but never feel whole. So here's the truth. No one tells you. You don't need more pleasure. You need more presence. You don't need another body. You need to come back into your own. Because the part of you that keeps reaching outward is the part of you that was never met inward. And that's what Carl Jung's Red Book was really about. Not sex, not power, not control, but integration. The reunion of all your lost pieces. The return to the self, the courage to look at your own emptiness and not run from it. So before you open another app, before you send another text, before you let your craving lead you, ask yourself, is this lust or is this loneliness in disguise? And if you finally stopped escaping, what would you find waiting inside you? Carl Jung never saw lust as just a physical impulse. To him, it was a spiritual signal. A coded message from the unconscious, a warning that the soul had been starved for too long. Because when you haven't faced your inner world, desire doesn't come from wholeness. It comes from fragmentation. You don't lust because you're bad. You lust because you're divided. Jung wrote in the Red Book, I must learn that the dregs of my thought, my dreams, are the speech of my soul. So when lust shows up, suddenly, urgently, irrationally, Jung would say, it's not about the person you're thinking of. It's about the part of you you've lost contact with. Here's what he meant. In Jungian psychology, the inner feminine in men is called the anima. And when this anima is unconscious, you don't know how to feel. You don't know how to surrender. You don't know how to love without attaching. So your soul reaches out the only way it knows how, through projection. You place your lost tenderness, your vulnerability, your inner light onto her. Not because she is all those things, but because she reminds you of the part of yourself you can't access anymore. So when you lust after her, her body, her presence, her softness, you're not actually craving sex. You're craving reunion with your lost soul. This is why it hurts. Because no matter how many times you chase it, you never reach it. You can't. Because you're chasing yourself in someone else's body.
You're chasing yourself in someone else's body. And he said something else that was huge, where it was really about the lust that's in you. It's just a projection of what you don't have access to. So let me break that down maybe in a simpler way. Not saying that y'all didn't catch it, but let's break it down together. I believe what that means is you haven't been vulnerable with yourself. You have not been vulnerable with life. So you're looking for these vulnerable moments of escapism in others, or through video or imagery. You have to be vulnerable with yourself. You have to talk about with yourself the things that you've been through, the pain that you've been through, the hurt that you've been through. Sometimes you gotta have a therapy session with yourself, bro, about why you feel lonely. Why do you feel this sense of loneliness? Because that's going to help you connect to your soul, to your spirit. And that's going to help you connect with being more holy, with being a better version of yourself, with being the man, the person, the individual that God would like you to be. But you can't get there by just thinking black and white. So you can't get there by saying, oh man, I'm living in lust right now, temptation, sin, but now I'm trying to be holy and I'm trying to be great. And I'm gonna just keep fighting this thing. It's like, no, there's something missing. That's what this video is. That's supposed to tether change. This is the tethering of change. There's something in the middle that you're missing, which is the root cause for why you feel like this, for why this sin is being projected in such a way. And I went like this for sin because sin has a deeper meaning. To sin in its original, term means to miss the mark. You did not quite, you weren't quite the best version of yourself. You didn't do this quite well. You missed the mark. You failed. Like you were close, but you still sinned. You still missed the mark. So how do we not miss the mark when it comes to lust? We have to understand what's making us miss the mark. We have to understand what's making us feel that way. That's what's going to help you get back to you being the best version of you, because you are not just your human flesh, bro. You are a spirit having a human experience, bro. And when you don't recognize that, you are not aware. He used the word presence. You will not have presence. You will not have consciousness. You will not have awareness. You will be a bot. Like spiritual souls say, you a bot. We in the matrix. You a bot. Like you gonna be a bot because you're not utilizing the power that God has given you. He has given you the power of awareness. When you have awareness, you can have presence. You can have deeper understanding. You can ask deeper questions. And I think for a long time, we've been like NPCs, where we have not been exploring that side of ourselves, exploring the spiritual side of ourselves. We haven't been connecting with God. Whatever your faith is, your head ain't in the books of scripture. You're not reading books. You feel what I'm saying? You got to read books. You got to read my book, Purposeful Man Playbook. This going to get you right. It's going to help you build discipline. That's why I made it. It's going to talk about some of the things that we're talking about. It's going to talk about presence and gratitude and being the best version of yourself. You got to read. It's on Amazon, shameless plug. You got to read. You feel what I'm saying? Like you have to start, watching things that's going to edify the soul. You got to start listening to things that's going to feed the spirit. You not feeding the spirit at all, but you keep feeding the demon. You keep feeding lust. You keep feeding the projection, but you ain't feeding the root.
And the more disconnected you are from your anima, the more violent, desperate, and emptier your lust becomes. You scroll endlessly. You fantasize about people you barely know. You replay images that made you feel something, anything. And yet, every time it ends, you feel more distant from yourself than before. Jung said, this is how the shadow seduces you. Not with evil, but with illusion. You don't see a person. You see your unmet needs, your suppressed pain, your forgotten warmth. And because you never integrated these parts within, you try to possess them outside. But lust, when it's disconnected from love, always collapses. Because no one can carry the weight of your unlived emotions. No body can complete your broken identity. No moment of pleasure can heal a soul that hasn't been felt. So what happens next? You start needing more stimulation, more novelty, more intensity. Because now, your soul isn't just craving, it's starving.
Tell me he wrong, bro. So here's what happens, right? For men who get addicted to lust, anybody really, but it starts off small. You know what I'm saying? For me, it started with like Playboy magazines. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm 23. I came in at the end, the tail end of when magazines was popping. So, you know what I'm saying, bro? You look at these Playboy magazines, you see, it happens at some point as a kid. You start to have that awakening to, desires and those type of temptational feelings. So you walk in Walmart like regular. You think it's gonna be regular grocery shop. You feel what I'm saying? And then you turn around, you like, that Playboy magazine, I'm starting to understand what's going on that cover. But the problem is, it adds on and it adds on and it adds and it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going, and then soft core turns to hardcore for you to have the same type of feeling. That's a problem. That's a problem. Soft core can't go all the way to the heart. Nah. It shouldn't even be no soft. You feel what I'm saying? It shouldn't even be no soft core. We doing a disservice to ourselves because we're not really locked in like that. And we don't really understand how to connect to who we are within. We already whole within. You good. That's the whole point, bro. When you find yourself, you're not lonely no more. Why? Scripture says the kingdom of heaven dwells within you. That's why. So when you go within, you have access to feeling the abundance, to feeling the presence of God, of something more, of something greater. And when you don't do that, you're going to keep searching for that feeling because that's who you really are. Abundance, God's child, but you're not connecting with your spirit. So you're trying to connect with everything else, but it's not going to fill the void. And the more and more that you don't lock in with your spirit, the more and more you locked out of heaven. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. I'm gonna repeat that one more time for the people in the back. The more and more that you not locked in with your spirit is the more and more you locked out of heaven, bro. And I don't mean literally. I don't mean in a faith-based conversation. I mean mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. You're going to feel as if you're in hell. You're going to feel as if you can't defeat lust because you keep moving further and further away from your spirit. That's a problem.
And you think the answer is in more content, more experiences, more people. But all you're really doing is running faster in a maze that leads right back to your emptiness. Carl Jung believed that to break the cycle, you must stop asking, who turns me on? And start asking, what part of me have I turned off? Because when you reconnect with your emotions, your dreams, your intuition, your longing, lust transforms. It becomes sacred. It becomes creative. It becomes a bridge, not a trap. Jung called this integration, bringing back the parts of you that were cast into the unconscious. And lust?
Fam, this is where the concept of semen retention comes in at. Because through that beautiful concept and understanding, you get a sense of transformation where you no longer have to be a slave to lust because you're going to transform that lust into something creative. Right? The energy of lust is just energy. It's something that can be used to be taken on a different form. So a lot of times, especially men, we got that morning wood, bro. You feel what I'm saying? And you know, what you gonna do with that, fam? Like, what you gonna do, bro? You gonna start your day releasing your energy, or you gonna start your day taking that energy, noticing it, and saying, I'm gonna use this to reach my full potential today? That's all semen retention is, bro. And transforming that energy into being a productive citizen. You feel what I'm saying, fam? Being a productive person in society, bro. Reaching your goals and dreams, reaching your full potential. But instead, and you trying to and then you just get further from yourself. We have to stop, bro. Like, change is only gonna come when you stop coming. Change is only gonna come, bro, once you can admit that you have a problem and that this problem could be solved. And you're the solution. You, bro, you are the solution. You put yourself in this situation. You not speaking with your spirit. You not locked in with your consciousness. You not aware. You ain't tapping in with God like that. Your head ain't in scripture. You ain't doing what you need to do. So how did you think this was gonna go? How did you think it was gonna go?
That's the fire of your soul, trying to get your attention, not to shame you, not to scare you, but to show you how far you've drifted from yourself. You don't just want someone to touch your body. You want someone to witness your being. You don't just want release. You want relief from the ache of being unseen, untouched, unheld, even by yourself. So here's the hardest truth Jung offers. Until you face your soul, your desire will always be misdirected. You'll keep chasing shadows. You'll keep calling it love. You'll keep falling into arms that don't feel like home. Because the home you seek is the part of you you stopped visiting long ago. So the next time you feel the wave of lust rise in you, pause. Don't repress it. Don't act on it blindly. Just ask it, what are you trying to show me about myself? Because once you learn how to feel the energy without losing yourself in it, you don't become cold. You become clear. And in that clarity, you can finally choose something deeper than the craving. You can choose connection, not escape, not performance.
He's right. How do I know this? What do men joke about? PNC, post-nut clarity, right? You're going to get the clarity regardless. If you fall for the lust and you do what you do, you're going to get clarity afterwards, and you're going to feel the clarity is, I feel bad, I shouldn't have done this. But you also had an opportunity to have clarity before you even lost yourself in the act. Bars. Make sure you subscribe, okay? Make sure you subscribe, bro. Make sure you subscribe, bro. The way we break stuff down over here, you can't find in many places. Listen, bro. Listen, fam. But you have an opportunity to find yourself before you lose yourself. You have an opportunity to find clarity and make a choice and have pre-nut clarity instead of post-nut clarity. You feel what I'm saying? This video is here to give you pre instead of post and see. Okay. All right. We got it. We on the same page. Let's continue.
Not fantasy, but presence. And from that presence comes the kind of love lust could never give you. You keep telling yourself it's harmless, a release, a phase, a need. But slowly, it starts to reshape you. Not in one big moment, but in tiny, invisible fractures. You stop feeling your emotions fully. You stop seeing people as whole. You start mistaking attention for love and stimulation for intimacy. This is what Carl Jung feared most. Because lust, when disconnected from the soul, doesn't just distort how you see others. It breaks how you see yourself.
This is not to pass judgment, but how many people do we know in society that does things for attention and they mistake it with love? Their currency in life is attention. Everything they do is for attention. Who they talk to is for attention. Who they with is for attention. What they post on social media is for attention. And so what it is broken people finding broken people and being broken within that. Not just in real life, but even us as men or just women too. When you look at somebody online and you look at these OnlyFans girls and they butt booty naked and it's all online, you got to start understanding something. She's broken. Now, she may have made that decision to do that, but attention is her currency. That's what pays the bills. Now, everybody could do what they want, but the way I see it is broken people paying broken people, feeding into this brokenness, into this emptiness. And it's such a huge business, bro. Because once you really look within and you know what love truly is, you start to understand what God truly is. The scripture says God is love. It's a strong emotion. It's a strong feeling. It's a beautiful feeling, but it's something that a lot of us avoid because it takes vulnerability, honesty, and talking about the root cause, in which we're doing right now. But we have to be honest. How many people do we know in society who use attention as a crutch for what they mistaken as love? But deep down, they know that's not love. Deep down, they know it's false gold. Deep down, they know it ain't really a positive thing. You feel what I'm saying? So that's interesting, man. But I wanted to come on here and just say that.
At first, it's small. You stop making eye contact. You avoid deep conversations. You retreat into fantasies that feel safer than reality. You smile in public, but feel numb inside. Then it gets worse. You lose motivation, not just sexually, but in life. You stop writing. You stop building. You stop creating. Because lust, when indulged mindlessly, consumes the same fire meant to fuel your purpose. It becomes your shortcut to aliveness. But the cost is your soul. Jung believed that every time you feed a craving without consciousness, you strengthen the complex behind it. A psychological loop. Trigger reaction. Relief. Guilt. Repeat. And the more you repeat it, the more you believe that this is just who you are. But it's not who you are. It's who you became after you stopped feeling shame in your own skin. You weren't born addicted to bodies. You were born craving connection. You wanted warmth, not friction. Love, not lust. Presence, not performance. But when life didn't give you those things, you turned to fantasy. Because in fantasy, you control the narrative. You're wanted. You're powerful. You're never rejected. But here's the cost. You stop showing up for the real world. You lose the ability to sit in awkward silence, to endure longing, to build something with someone, to fail in front of love and try again anyway. Because lust teaches you escape, not courage, not patience, not resilience. And so you get stuck. You keep chasing highs that never touch your heart. You keep looking for women who make you feel something, just enough to distract you from how disconnected you are.
That's why scripture says something so important. It says that, and he had just said it slipped my mind. It said that love is kind and love is patient. So love is patient, and what it means to live a patient life is to live a life of presence, to live a life of awareness. Like, I am a patient person because I am in the present moment. I'm not in my mind saying, oh my gosh, I have to wait in line for so long. I'm in my mind saying, all I'm doing right now in this present moment is standing. Yes, I am waiting for something. My turn will eventually come, but let me look around at some beautiful things that may be around. Whether it's a light sign. I was doing this the other day. I was looking at, like, there was a pink sign for a plaza in the mall, and it was like a pink sign, and it was like neon, and it was beautiful. And I would occasionally look over and mesmerized by like how we were able to create something like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the present moment. I'm breathing. You know, my bad. You know, I was with my wife, so I'm just looking at my wife and I'm seeing her beauty, and I'm just, you know, I'm listening to her speak. You know, like, I don't know, bro. Just slow down. Like, I feel like we want too much, and we want a lot of dopamine hits. Part of that is because of social media. Part of that is because of TikTok, and we all know it's toxic. Like, we all know it's not. I'm not saying that social media itself is toxic. Some people will say that, but how we use it and the algorithm and the energy behind social media could be toxic. And so, you know, it's important for us to just know that love is kind, love is patient. And that means, and because in order to be patient, what components do you need? Love is presence. It's important to be present. You have to be present. You have to be in the present moment in order to be a patient individual. And you have to be kind to yourself, you know? So all this feeling of guilt and shame, I don't feel that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm not perfect, but I'm present. I'm aware that of my mistakes. I'm aware of the actions that I've done, but feeling guilty, feeling all this stuff, that's such a negative emotion. I'm not feeling guilty. I'm feeling enlightened. I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling better. And that's not me labeling myself as enlightened. If somebody labels themselves as enlightened, they're probably not enlightened. That's just me saying that's how I feel. That is the position that I want to feel. And so that is what I think of. I think of enlightenment. I think of how would Jesus act in this moment. I think of, you know, who am I supposed to be in this moment? You know, what decision could I make to make this a better outcome or to make my life better? Like, this is the type of way that I think and operate in my daily life with every single decision that I'm ever given. You know, so it's just important, man, to understand that, like, if you want to really feel what love feels like, you first have to be bored. You have to be present. You have to have presence. Okay.
And maybe worst of all, you start to resent yourself. You tell yourself you're weak, that you're broken, that you'll never find real love. But Jung would say, it's not brokenness. It's disconnection from the inner feminine, from the soul's ability to nurture, to hold, to feel. You have fire, but no warmth. You have desire, but no devotion. And without integration, lust becomes violence. Not outwardly, but inwardly. You betray your own values. You promise yourself, never again, only to fall back into the same loop the next night. And over time, your mind becomes scattered. Your heart becomes calloused. Your dreams become dry. Because nothing that once made you feel alive can compete with the intensity you've wired into your system. The high is short. The aftermath is long. And the worst part? You start needing more and feeling less. Jung called this psychic possession, when a complex hijacks your willpower. When you no longer act, you are acted through. And in this case, it's not you who's chasing lust. It's your shadow, your loneliness, your unloved inner child, searching for someone to hold him in the only way he's ever known. So the cycle repeats. Relationships fall apart. You sabotage connection. You can't sit with discomfort, so you swipe. You can't deal with silence, so you scroll. You can't face yourself, so you chase someone else's body. But what you never realize, until it's too late, is that lust doesn't just keep you from love. It keeps you from becoming you. It robs you of creative energy, of attention span, of soul depth, of spiritual clarity. And the longer it goes on, the more you start to wonder, why don't I feel anything anymore? That's the consequence. Not shame, not hell, not punishment, but numbness.
I think it's very important to let y'all know something. Like, I know you've heard this word creative energy. Y'all probably saying, what is that? Well, what is God, bro? He's the creator. That's what I call him. I love to call him the creator because he created everything. That is the source of everything. There's a source of everything, right? Science gonna call it Big Bang. Of course, there's a Big Bang. If somebody bangs something in the universe, boom, create everything, boom. So yeah, I think God made the Big Bang, and God is what I call that source of everything. And what you have to understand is, if the creator created you in his image and likeness, don't that mean that you also have the ability to create? So that's why in our life, we create a lot more than what we think we create. And some people will tell you, you create damn near everything that you go through, every experience, especially based on your mindset. But I do think that we create a lot. And I think people who think that they create almost everything in their life, from suffering to they closer to the truth than not. So of course, God has there's an infinite divine plan, yes. But you do have the ability to create a better life and to be creative. And so creative energy is just your essence of who you are. And the feeling of lust, the energy of lust, what can lust do? Lust can create another life. So lust is one of the highest projections of that creative energy that you have, because lust can literally create another life. But love can too. Love can create another life. And it has been creating life since the beginning of time. God loves you. He loved the idea of creating you, so he created you. You love the idea of having kids, so you're going to have kids one day, or you already have kids. I love the idea of having a YouTube channel, so I created that. I love the idea of reacting to videos, so now we're going to start reacting a little bit more on this channel to dive deeper into subjects that we already speak about. So when you love the idea of something, or you love someone, creation flows from there. When you love your passions, you love basketball, you're going to get up, drive to the basketball court, and whoop. Why is that? Because you love it. And so love creates action, but lust can do that too. However, when it does, the action is not from your true self. The action is from a version of yourself that is disconnected to your spirit, that is not creative. It's not using that energy for good. It's using that energy to escape.
And Jung would argue that is worse than pain, because when you're numb, you stop evolving. You stop listening. You stop hearing the voice inside you that says, this isn't who I came here to be. You don't need to hate yourself to heal. You don't need to repress desire. You just need to ask one question. What is this craving trying to teach me about me? Carl Jung never told you to kill the fire. He told you to understand it. Because the fire of lust, when ignored, becomes addiction. But when faced, it becomes transformation. And that journey doesn't start by closing your eyes. It starts by finally opening them. No more lying. No more blaming. No more saying, this is just how I am. You're not broken. You're just lost. And you've used lust to avoid the map. But the mate was never outside of you. It was never in her body. Never in that video. Never in the next message, the next app, the next escape. The map was always your soul. So how do you begin? Step 1. Stay. Not with her. Not with them. With you. Stay in your body. Stay with the ache. Stay through the craving without feeding it. At first, it will feel impossible. You'll shake. You'll scroll. You'll itch for escape. But if you breathe through it, just one moment longer than you usually do, you'll hear something new. Silence. Not the numb kind. The sacred kind. And in that silence, a voice will whisper, I miss you. It's the part of you left behind. The boy who learned to earn love through performance. The soul who mistook touch for truth. The man who forgot that his craving was not evil, just unmet. Jung believed that you don't kill your shadow. You integrate it. You sit with it. You learn from it. You bring it back into the light. So what does that look like? You start writing again, not just to express, but to feel. You create, not to impress, but to release. You sit in nature. You let yourself cry. You breathe into your chest and ask, what do I actually want right now? And you listen, not just once, every day. Because healing lust isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily relationship with your own soul. And over time, the cravings lose their grip, not because they disappear, but because you no longer fear them. You welcome the heat. You thank the desire. You hear what it's really saying. I want love. I want beauty. I want meaning. I want me. You don't need to shame yourself anymore. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to come home. Because when you reclaim your anima, your inner feminine, you don't chase it outside. You live it. You feel your emotions. You honor your softness. You become magnetic because you're finally whole. And then, when someone does come along, you don't need to possess them. You don't need to be rescued. You don't need them to complete the parts of you abandoned. Because you already did that. In silence. In darkness. In the sacred place lust could never reach. But your soul always could. So, if this hits something inside you, then you've already begun the journey back.
Amazing video. Amazing video. Shout out to him. Shout out to all of y'all who watched the full video, man. This is what it's about. You know, it's about community, fam. You know, it's about unity. It's about being the best version of yourself. And so what we just did today was beautiful. And if you enjoyed any aspect of this, any part of this, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you comment below the word defeat lust. Defeat lust. And you know, just remember, bro, lust is not the enemy. It is not the enemy. You know, it's an aspect of the relationship that you have with yourself. And because you've been lacking in some areas or some parts, it projects itself as lust. But all you got to do is ask it, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to remind me of right now? Sit with that shadow, sit with that feeling that you feel, and get some answers out of it. As soon as you feel lust, journal, write about it, create. Because all it is energy. Move that energy, transform that energy into something else. This is a powerful, powerful video. This is a masterclass type video. And I'm honored to be in this position of positive influence to hopefully lead you down a better path. But you got it. I believe in you. I love you. And I want to see you continue to do great. All I say is check out The Chosen Ones. That's where I'll be dropping videos that, more videos on lust, more breakdowns. So check that out. My book, The Purposeful Man Playbook, is out on Amazon. Thank you to everybody who got it. We're going to be doing, what's it called? We're going to be doing like a book club where we break down chapter by chapter. That's going to be fun. So I'll go live, I'll live stream, and then we'll break it down, stuff like that. So I got a lot of great plans for this channel. This is a beautiful channel with a lot of amazing people like yourself. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace.